Well, I tell you what, good morning, everybody. Might as well get started, even though it's a bit early. We'll just have a bit of a catch up with people before we get underway here. It is very nippy, and it was very hard to get out of bed. I think one of my jobs today is going to go downstairs because we start on the top floor and then we go down to get my winter clothing out because I have so far rejected the idea of winter, but overnight we had a low of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was the overnight low. It's 11 at the moment. Crispy clear skies just starting to dawn. So not very brilliant here. Patricia and David, ZFH 286 Gulf Harbour Radio. And is there anybody wants to give a report at the moment? I looked on YIT and didn't see. There were a lot of position reports, but no weather. I was disappointed in you guys on Kuperi because last time you reported, you actually gave me some weather, and I had to go into the system to find you're into that old format again. But it is very nice at Blue Lagoon by the look of it, and a nice little wind shadow there. They have only 5 knots from the east. Clear skies, 1011, and very peaceful there, and confirmed by iCandy a few minutes ago. So it is nice up there. There's a few people trying to get out of New Zealand, but they're going to have to be very patient. Oh, and Australia too. Actually heard from Eagle's Wings. They're still alive in Whangarei there. They're trying to get out, and Kuhila trying to get north to Vanuatu from up there on Opua, and Manawai from Tauranga. It is a little bit difficult on the horizon for getting out of Dodge here. And, I think Silhouette and Erie too are ready to roll from Brisbane as well. So, yep, just a little bit of a kerfuffle in the Pacific, which David will get on to in the not too distant future. Anyway, is there anybody wanting to give a report? Please call. Any relays? There is some funny conditions today because I cannot hear Vanuatu at the moment, but Fiji was booming in, or certainly from the west side. Any relays? Yeah, iCandy. Go ahead, Andrew. And from Newtown. Yeah, good morning to Gracious Lady. Yeah, Newcal takes a bit of coming in. Certainly it's a bit too difficult at this time of the day. But good morning. Boy, you guys are up earlier there in Newcal. Mind you, when we were there, we used to always work the same hours as New Zealand, and it worked out quite well. But yep, no copy on you, probably Hillary there, but we'll hopefully you can hear us. All right. With that, I am going to go on. We've got a hello from Epi. Overcast, almost raining. 28 degrees, 1012, and east-southeast 15. Good morning to Diego and Marina. All right, a little bit of news, and there isn't, in fact, an awful lot going on in the world at the moment. It's just the same old, same old. It gets a little bit boring, doesn't it? But anyway, I will whip through what there is. Mexico is under pressure from the Trump administration to help slow the migration flows across their border there. So they've just announced the deployment of about 15,000 troops to that border to try and do their bit to stop the flow. This is in addition to the 2,000 that they already had on their southern borders with Belize and Guatemala. And just from memory, they've had this problem with kids in detention, and they have removed all those that were in the Texas detention center. Evidently, the conditions were terrible. No soap. Well, that reminds me of Vanuatu. A lot of the places we went into had no soap. But anyway, they've been moved to better conditions. An interesting one, Bill Gates has actually come out on the government side calling for more regulation of the big tech companies. I think I mentioned this a week or so ago. But technology has become so central to all areas of our lives that companies like Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon all face increased scrutiny from the FCC and the Department of Justice in the United States, particularly in the antitrust area. It's just they're starting to think that there is too much knowledge being passed around, too much control of how we go about things. And boy, I'm all in favour of that. I took most of yesterday trying to get through to a company in China that I had bought a phone from. Now, I won't go into the details, but it was a saga, I can assure you. The phone finally came, but yesterday we got notification that another phone was coming. But it turned out after an entire day trying to break through their communication system that they had had a shutdown in their internet, which is getting more and more common in Asia, and everything had rebooted to about a week or so or 2 weeks ago, and the information was that they were giving us was in fact for the previous phone. But yeah, we are being controlled, and this lack of paper is not exactly streamlining everything. You need to spend just as much time sitting in front of a confounded computer as you would ever have done in front of a file cabinet. Anyway, I better get off my soapbox here.
That's my soapbox too.
Oh, that's your soapbox too.
Well,
okay.
I'm not giving up my checks. I'm not sure what anybody should.
Oh yeah, that's a problem here in New Zealand. One of the banks has just given up checks, and David is really into checks, so that he has got proof that he has paid something. But anyway, Kiwi Bank have given up on checks, which actually led to the knowledge that you can make your own checks. You don't actually have to have a bank check. You can write down on a piece of paper all the information that's needed, and that is perfectly legitimate. Talking about the internet and mobile phone outages are being used more and more by governments on the pretext of public safety and security and public interest and blah, blah. Myanmar and Ethiopia are the latest to lose their mobile data networks, but this is something that is getting more and more prevalent, that if there's any social unrest forecast or an action, that the government just shuts everything down. So it's going to be a sign of the future, I think. Anyway, you probably feel like shutting down in Europe. They are having a whopper heat wave right through from Spain, France, through Germany, Belgium, Czech Republic, Switzerland, Poland, 35 to 40 degrees. It's absolutely ripper temperatures over there.
It's almost the beginning of July.
Well, it is, yes, but this is hotter than normal, hotter than the last one 17 years ago, and of course it's blamed on climate change. All right. Okay, something a little bit lighter. In San Francisco, whoever the governing body of San Francisco, we would call them the town councillors, but they have a different name over there. But anyway, they're voting today to possibly ban vaping in San Francisco, which I would be in favour of. There's nothing worse than wandering down the road and having a great cloud of flipping smoke envelop you, even if it's not carcinogenic. It's just very unpleasant. And for some reason, vapors like to create an awful lot of smoke. Continuing in the United States, there is about a dozen or more billionaires calling for a tax on wealth. Isn't that amazing? To help pay for various public health projects and things that don't get enough money at the moment. And Senator Elizabeth Warren has proposed a tax of 2% on fortunes of 50 million or more, and a further 1% on assets of greater than $1 billion. I suppose if you've got assets greater than $1 billion, you're not really going to lose sleep over an extra 1%, are you?
But isn't that called communism?
Yes, that is sort of called communism, but anyway, I suppose it's called redistribution of wealth, but still with a capitalistic theme. All right. See, I only report the news. I don't comment on it. You know, well, not really.
I'll comment.
You know. Okay, on the Caribbean side of Mexico, those beautiful beaches, there is an infestation of a seaweed-like algae It's caused a really, really rotten egg smell all along their beautiful white sand beaches. Piles of sargassum have arrived, covering the sand, and as it rots, it turns the water brown, the stench starts, and certainly is upsetting the locals and the tourist trade. So you might as well just stay where you are in the South Pacific and enjoy the beaches there. And you don't get all the tourists either. Closer to home here in Auckland, the Lime scooters continue to be a problem. Yesterday a woman was knocked over and pushed under a bus. She got quite damaged. And it's in the same street that the day before a Lime scooter driver was killed. Needless to say, there are calls for removing them from the pavements of Auckland. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do that, having given them the go-ahead, but they're certainly causing a lot of problems here, as they are in various cities in the US. And sticking with New Zealand, Amy Adams, she is in the opposition National Party. She is retiring from politics at the next election. She's found that opposition is not very fulfilling, particularly as it's likely to be the case for her in the National Party at the next election. So another 4 years of being in opposition wasn't very, just she didn't want to do it. And in fact, there's a couple more on the list for retiring from the National Party. Over to Britain now. The cost of running the royal household has risen to £67 million. Now, that was in the last financial year, and the rise was mostly due to renovations at Buckingham Palace. But the total budget for the Queen and her household was £82 million, which put in perspective is only £1.24 per person in the UK. So, boy, I'd give £1.24 with you, and David would too, and he's not even a Brit. So there you are. It's money well spent, I think. Gives us great entertainment and gives us a little bit of a rest from all the other stuff that's going on in the world. Mr. Trump having his battle with the Ayatollah and stuff like that. So, all right, let's have a look here. Eagles Wings and Chili and Kama Whangarei. Scoots is in Savu Savu. Listening on streaming, and Bunda, thank you, 21 degrees. That's not very warm in Bunda, is it? 10% cloud cover, thank you, John. Light winds in Bunda.
Last few weeks has been quite cool at night.
Quite cool at night. All right, is there anybody with anything to add before I pass the microphone? Actually, it's a little bit early. I was going to talk to you today about water spouts, and I'll probably leave that till tomorrow because I was up a little late today. But there was a very interesting article in the latest Skipper magazine. It's a magazine, a very good magazine here in New Zealand. It covers no punches coverage of the commercial sort of marine world and fishing, the commercial fisher boats and tourist boats.
Marine biology.
Yeah, all the people involved in the marine world in New Zealand. It's sort of like a counterpunch to our Maritime New Zealand. Who, apart from Maritime Radio, of course, who do a great job, there is a lot of problems with the rest of the organisation. But anyway, I shall talk about water spouts tomorrow because you guys are in an area where water spouts, in fact, are quite common. So it's interesting to know a little bit about them. Okay, is there anybody with anything at this stage before I pass the microphone?
Okay.
No, nothing heard. He wants it. So, Niafu, thank you, Whistler. 10 knots from the east, 50% cloud cover, 1017.26. I did tell you, didn't I, that we have got 1031.8 and it's still rising. This new high is a real whopper. All right, that's about it. I think there's one here from Valak, and they are still in, where were they? Anyway, they're at 22 and 178. I thought they were on the go. Anyway, it's 7 to 10 knots from the southeast, wherever it is that they are. They're sailing, so I guess they have left the Minervas and are heading north. Yes, they are. 000 true. Thank you. That's always useful to have a report from out in the ocean. 1020.3. and 100% of stratus in the sky, 2 metres southeast swell. And Jeffrey, on his way to Cairns, is still having fairly sporty conditions. He's now 715 miles east of Cairns, going from Port Vila. Light rain there, still rather warm, 27 degrees, and 20 knots of wind from the southeast. And the sea conditions are moderating a little bit, but a longer period, which is good, 2.5 metres, but it's still a bit mixed. So there you have it. All right, that'll keep him busy. He's had a fair bit of shipping traffic too lately. Okay, here's David.
Well, there would be a lot of shipping traffic going up to the Coral Sea. Anyway, let's look at the main pattern for today. And off to the east, we've got a pretty strong 1031 high with, actually it's got a rather pathetic ridge that's running to the northwest. Only gets to about 150 west, so the center of this high is further east than that. So while it's a fairly strong high, the ridge is just not penetrating to the west very well at all. In the Tasman, we find a second high, a very strong high, central pressure 1041. Patricia was talking about our barometric pressure. That is going to continue to rise as this gets closer and closer to New Zealand. Now this one at the moment is ridging east-northeast, and it meets up with the eastern high, as you would expect it to do. Between the two of these are a series of depressions. This is normal as well. The centers, however, are in the Southern Ocean. Now by lunch on Friday, a couple days from now, the Tasman high is going to lie over New Zealand, and we estimate the central pressure to be about the same, about 1040 millibar, 1040. This is very, very strong. Now this high is going to take over the entire Southwest Pacific, and unfortunately a polar dip looks like it will develop between Vanuatu and Fiji, and I would say by Saturday, a few days from now, a depression is going to form just to the, well, southeast of the Loyalties, south of Venetian, right in that general area. Now, we have another little low that's sitting out there, and it's just north of North Cape, and it's sending a trough to the north. And in addition, we have another embedded trough that's lying in the mid-Tasman within the high that's building. This is very strange to a lot of people, but we see these troughs that are embedded in high pressure systems, common here in the Southwest Pacific. It's extending north to about the latitude of Hervey Bay, which is roughly 25 south. Then up in the islands, we have a quasi-stationary front, and quasi-stationary, again, that means a frontal band that's moving 5 knots or less. So very, very slow moving. But it lies over New Cal and the Loyalties. We have another one, another trough that is over Vanuatu. And we find another trough over Fiji. And here we go with some more. The Solomons is next. Then we have a very juicy little trough over Rotuma, goes to Futuna, and on to Tonga and Niue. And the last one that I see up there is a trough over Tuvalu, and that runs to, well, just a little bit south of the Northern Cooks. Now, those of you at Minerva, you could expect southeast winds around 15 knots today, and I believe that's the reports that we've gotten, right around there, a couple knots either way of that. A little bit more wind tomorrow, getting up 18, 20 in that area. Friday, more wind. We're looking at 20 to 25. And on Saturday, 25 to 30. And then on Sunday, we get a little bit of a shift, east to east-northeast, 25 to 30. So a lot of wind coming for Minerva. So those boats that have wanted to leave for Fiji or Tonga, well, you're underway now. The rest of you, from what we understand, are just going to hang out until all of this kind of dies down. Now, a depression does form on basically at southern Vanuatu on Saturday. That's the depression that we talked about a few minutes ago. That is part of that polar dip. And it's going to move to, well, in the direction of Ile de Pan on Sunday. Ile de Pan is in New Caledonia, the southeast portion. Now, a day ago, models had showed this low really wrapping up to develop into quite a humdinger. But this morning's runs don't show that. They show just a polar dip. So the upper levels have definitely changed, and what changes usually is the vorticity up at 500 millibars. Something has changed up there, and therefore that low is not going to develop as we figured. And that's good news. We really don't need to have a low at this point. So it's going to remain as a polar dip. In any case, though, winds from New Zealand to Fiji or Tonga will be fresh to strong winds, and they'll be northeasterly. And that's a pretty harsh beat if you're trying to go from New Zealand to Tonga or Fiji. So not a very good passage in that direction. A little different if you're going to Newcal. But if you're trying for Fiji or Tonga, it'll be a bit tough. Seas now are going to be very rough. 4 meters on this passage, if you make it, rising to 5 meters up around the Minerva toward the islands area. 5 meter seas on Monday. That's the 1st of July. So those of you in Minerva, get your cameras ready because you will probably get some pretty good shots of very large surf crashing in on that reef at that point. That's Monday, the 1st of July. Over to Tonga now, where that weak trough we talked about lies over Vavau and the Papais. Possibly it may move northeast away from the group a little bit later today. We'll have to wait and see. The only way to tell is to look at satellite imagery. Expect cloudy periods before that time then, and isolated showers today and I think tomorrow as well. Winds expected to be east to southeast about 10 to 15, rising up to 20 a little bit later today and tomorrow. Tomorrow reaching up to 25 knots actually. Seas in and amongst the islands 2 meters and a southerly swell about 2 meters as well. Now on Friday, I'm looking at southeast 25 knots as well as Saturday. Sunday, easterlies 25 to 30. And on Monday, well, watch out for Monday if you are in Tonga. What I'm picking up is a possible depression possibly forming. And I'm looking at areas of 35 to 40 knot winds possible if this does happen. Now, Tonga Met has not picked this up. This is just my own nosing around. So maybe with some luck, we'll hope I'm wrong. But in any case, pay attention to that and be careful on that date. Now, early conditions today, well, we'll look at Vavau first. Southeast at 6, scattered to broken, the barometer 1015. The Papais, easterly 10, scattered to broken, and barometer 1017. And Tongatapu, southeast at 5, scattered, barometer 1018. That's a bit of a pressure gradient right there, so that will cause a bit of fresh wind. And maybe that's a harbinger of the winds to come. But it sure looks like they're coming. Now, a weak trough also lies over northern Fiji with cloud and associated showers. Not too bad for the southern half, looking at imagery. But tomorrow, we could see cloud for the entire group, plus scattered showers. Fiji Met, they have issued a strong wind warning for Kendavu and Batuira passages. Easterlies 20 to 25 and That's for tomorrow as well. And the rest of Fiji in open water, east 15 to 20, rising 20 to 25 knots on Thursday. And I see 25 knots Friday and Saturday. Sunday, 25 knots, rising to 30 in many areas. So the winds are going to be northerly then for the north half and northeasterly elsewhere. And it's looking to ease on Monday. Now, a lot of you have heard these winds, and you're in the Osawas, and you're saying there's no wind here, and there isn't, because you are in the wind shadow area. And I can take probably an hour going over all of the wind shadow areas that we've got there in Fiji. So when I give you the winds, these are for the open waters, waters that are exposed and don't have any large land masses that are breaking up the flow of wind. So surely you can see this on your grids when you're looking at them very closely. You'll see on the leeward side of any of these islands, you are going to have a decrease of wind, and I think everybody understands that. The radar loop this morning shows scattered showers well to the north, but quite fair to the south. So this morning looks pretty good for the most part, but take heed of the strong winds Friday through Sunday, especially if you're surrounded by a lot of rally boats. Now, that doesn't mean...
No, they're all on their way to Fiji.
Well,
all on their way to Fiji.
Well, they're going to Fiji. Well, okay.
Bay of Islands, yep.
All right, well, I am talking about Fiji, so
yep.
There you go. Vanuatu shows plenty of cloud on imagery as a pretty weak trough lies over the group. Actuals this morning, Sola, showers, easterlies about 10 knots. Port Orly, the same thing. LAMAP reports light rain, easterlies 15 as well. Port Vila, light rain, also easterlies 15. Down there at Lenikai and Anishim, light rain and winds roughly 15 knots out of the east for both of those areas. Now, New Caledonia, they sit under cloud as well, and that's part of the weak trough I mentioned earlier. Pretty strong pressure gradient is causing some very strong winds down there. In the southern lagoon, I see east-southeast 20, maybe gusting up to 30, and expect rain for today. The winds could possibly pick up, believe it or not, to 35 knots. So you do not want to be in the southern lagoon, that is for sure. Tomorrow, cloudy. The winds are going to ease 15 to 20, east-southeast to southeast. We may see 30-knot gusts around Gilbacan, but other parts of the southern lagoon a little bit less, I hope. But in any case, that high is causing some havoc. We could see a wind shift on Saturday. We possibly could be looking at southwest winds 10 to 15 knots. We'll have to see on this in the next day or so if they hold to that. So southwest 10 to 15 Saturday. Okay, that's pretty much all I've got. Everybody be ready for some windy times, and any questions or comments, come now.
Yeah, funnily enough, I was just talking to a cruising friend on Skype yesterday, and he was asking, he's in Australia, and asking how the season was progressing. I said, oh, it's been up until now rather mellow, but it doesn't sound as if the mellowness is carrying on. And good morning to Avalon up there in Savu Savu, cloudy morning, and they'll be there for a few days, 1012. Actually, Fiji looks pretty good, certainly on the western side anyway, but the rest of you have got a bit of cloud and muck about. Certainly Vanuatu, can't even see Vanuatu on the satellite picture for the cloud. Anybody with any questions, please call. Nothing heard, and Alan on Quintessa. Denise, as you can imagine, is enjoying the 35 degrees in Switzerland there. Very happy about that. All right, nothing much more here. We've got a busy day here today, and it's a beautiful, clear day, even though it is a bit on the nippy side. so we'll be out and about and not getting wet, which is good. All right, if there's nothing more, does anybody want to do a check on their radio? I wouldn't mind seeing as conditions are a bit better today. Essence, if you are on frequency, give me a call and we'll see what it's like today. Anyway, I will close the net and just stand by for a bit in case anybody wants to do a bit of a radio check. Cheers, everybody. Flying fish, good morning, Jeffrey. Didn't expect to be able to copy you from way over there. Sounds still fairly sporty for you, over. Hang on, I'll get you to... Yeah, I'm just giving David your position here so that you're too light to really copy, but I'm giving him your position. Sorry, he's not...
Give it.
Well, I'm giving it to you. I was jabbing him with my iPad and he was saying, give it to me.
I was expecting you verbally.
He wanted it verbally. I'll just give you a bit of an outlook. I'll pass the microphone so that you can get his thoughts on what's going to happen from where you are. It's just not, I can sort of get the call from you, but not really anything much else. So we'll do this first, and then if that doesn't answer what you might have asked, well, we'll try again.
Yeah, okay, Jeffrey. You're going into